Welcome to Worth It or Worthless, a show where every couple weeks we pull a game from my own personal collection of retro games, take off our nostalgia-tinted glasses, and decide, is the game good by today's standards, and is it worth the price of admission? We talk about what the game does well, what the game doesn't do so well, and the things that are just plain weird. I'm your Stan, joined as always by my friend Jordan. Jordan, what did we get into today?
Today we played Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Castlevania 2 is a twist on Bram Stoker's classic 1897 novel Dracula. One of the main themes of that novel is a conflict between modernity and the ancient world. The book seems to suggest that no matter how advanced the modern world's technology is, there are some things, such as evil, that it cannot destroy. In Castlevania 2, you learn this lesson all too well. You play as Simon Belmont, a legendary vampire slayer who seemingly banished evil from Transylvania once and for all when he defeated Dracula at the end of the first Castlevania game. Unfortunately, that evil lived on in the form of a curse that will haunt Simon day and night until he gathers up the dismembered pieces of Dracula's body, reanimates him in some sort of macabre Frankensteinian ceremony, and defeats him once again. Will Simon's new knowledge and weapons allow him to destroy Dracula for good this time? Or is Transylvania doomed to face an endless cycle of terror and evil?
That sounds like the back of the box.
It's quite the story.
Man. So that the manual, I think, is where you get this idea, this story where this apparition or something appears to Simon Belmondo and tells him that he's cursed.
Yeah,
and then he's
cursed.
like, I gotta go get the pieces of Dracula. Where did we put his rib? Where is his fingernail? Where is his eyeball? Where is his ring? And where is his heart?
I like that his ring is part of his body.
Yeah. So what did we do? Okay, I killed Dracula in the first game. I knocked his head off. And then, as the speedrunners say, he turned into Cookie Monster.
Oh, okay.
That's the second phase. That's what they call it, Cookie Monster. So you killed Cookie Monster Dracula, and evil's banished, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because apparently they took some of the parts of his bodies, and put them into mansions all around Transylvania.
And in a Legend of Zelda-esque mission where you have to go retrieve these parts, but everything guarding them is trying to kill the hero.
It's a fetch quest.
Fetchter's quest.
Oh.
In the same way that Zelda was like, I put the pieces of the Triforce in a bunch of dungeons, and now the hero's gonna die on this quest.
Yeah, what's going on
trying to
with
save
this?
the land. Like, whose mansions are these?
Yeah,
And
who just had free big mansions to donate to the cause of, I give my mansion to hold Dracula's nail.
I give my mansion to hold Dracula's nail, and maybe it's the guy selling the oak stakes in the mansions to break the orb that holds Dracula's body parts.
That's true. Yeah, what is up with this system? They totally just, although they're not really trying to get money from you, they want monster hearts. Guys, the currency in this game, So in the last episode, we talked about Castlevania 1 back in episode 73, and I was a little bit perplexed that the hearts you pick up didn't give you health. They were the ammunition for your sub-weapons.
Yes.
Now in this
Which
game,
is the case here.
For some of them.
Some
of your sub-weapons will use hearts as ammunition in this game. But also, it's the currency in Transylvania. They hate these monsters so much that you can trade them 150 monster hearts for a new weapon or something. But good luck finding the weapons dealer because they're probably hiding in a secret room somewhere.
Which, if you buy holy water with 50 monster hearts, you can find
unlimited holy water.
Yes, you have. For the low price of 50 monster hearts, you get unlimited firebombs with which you can break walls in this game.
Yeah, which if you remember Castlevania 1, that was like the OP best weapon.
Yes.
Use it against everything. And now here it is, very first town of the game. They sell it to you cheaper than anything else in the entire game. So
besides the white crystal, of course, which you need to get to the first mansion.
Obviously. So I hope you guys are tracking with all of this. This is obviously making perfect sense. You now understand a little bit of the world of Castlevania 2. Before we get too deep into that, though, Dan, do you have any fun facts you want to share with us?
I do. Of course, this game, developed and published by Konami.
Yeah.
They were like, people like that Castlevania game.
Yeah.
So let's make another one.
Yeah. but let's do everything completely different. People loved it so much. Let's do something completely different. It's kind of like the difference of like Zelda to Zelda 2.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, that was phenomenal. What if we changed everything?
Well, I didn't actually. So really the only fun fact I have other than that, besides the release date, is this game was inspired by another Konami game called Maze of Gallius.
Oh, it's a classic. The Maze of Gallius.
I didn't actually look at footage of that game, but it's like, oh, so they were like, let's take the thing that everybody liked. And what if we took this thing that nobody's heard of? At least, and I mean, I've literally never heard of this game.
It's got to be somebody's pet project. It was probably a Japanese-only game. I'm just making stuff up now. Who knows?
I think it might have been. It might have been like an MSX game or something too. Like I don't know, but I appreciate the experimentation.
You got to try new things.
I think we will touch on this later in the show. I have specific points about the experimentation of this game. But yeah, it was like the first game did really well. Let's take the movement and whipping and attacking and try something completely different.
Yeah. So that was actually going to be one of our trivia questions. There was this quote that I found that said, when asked if Metroid influenced the exploration action nature of Castlevania 2, Simon Quest director Hitoshi Akamatsu instead cited a different game as having a major influence, and that was the Maze of Gallius.
Shout out to Wikipedia, our friend Wikipedia.
Actually, I didn't get that from Wikipedia.
I saw that quote on Wikipedia.
I'm sure, because everybody coordinates and pulls everything to one source and then links to other sources. But I got it from, I don't know, some random website with trivia.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
My other options were going to be Maniac Mansion, Faxanadu, and The Magic of Scheherazade.
What website do you use for trivia?
I usually go to google.com and then I type in Castlevania 2 trivia.
Usually for every episode?
Well, sometimes I'll type in Super Mario World trivia or whatever game we're playing.
Okay.
And then I'll scroll through and there's usually not a whole lot of options.
Okay.
For some reason, IMDb, the movie website, the Internet Movie Database, has video game trivia.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I think like Game FAQ, frequently asked question. They have a trivia section on some of their games. So I don't remember where I got this from. It was just some random like GeoCities Angel Fighter type looking website that somehow hasn't been taken down.
CastlevaniaDungeon.net?
No. It would never be something. It would be like angelfire.net /videogames /Konami /Castlevania /Castlevania 2 /trivia. It would be something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, so this game came out in Japan, Famicom Disk System, in August of 1987. And then we got it in North America December 1988, and then the PAL version came out in April of 1990.
Wow, 1990.
So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that seems to be a recurring theme, is like the PAL regions got these NES games a lot later.
That's a lot later.
If you know why that might have been, if we have any historians out there, like let us know if that was like a general trend or whatever.
They definitely seem to have higher like standards, like when we talk about Contra and Probotector. Like they had to change all of the humans to be robots because of like they didn't want humans killing humans or whatever. So maybe it was like a standards board kind of thing, because we didn't have the ESRB in North America at the time. So maybe that sped up our process, whereas they did have some sort of standards board that maybe was slowing things down.
Yeah, I didn't read about any differences, at least on the Wikipedia page, which was the extent of my research, about any version differences between the North American, Japanese, and the PAL versions.
I think the only thing I noticed was on the disk system, obviously, since it's a floppy disk kind of thing, they had the ability to save.
That's
whereas
right. Yep.
in the North American and PAL versions, you use a password system.
Yeah. But other than that, I didn't see any like. Sometimes the Japanese have like more generous continue systems or live systems.
Yeah.
Or the games have like the Japanese version of Castlevania has an easy mode, if I recall correctly.
Yep, we did talk about that.
And I think I tried it out after we recorded that Castlevania episode, and I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
This is fun.
If you ever want to try the Japanese versions of most of the 8-bit and 16-bit versions are all on the Castlevania collection, the Konami Castlevania collection on Switch, and I think it's on other systems also. Who cares about the other systems? Those other guys probably also have it.
I don't know if they can run it. I don't know if the PS4 can run Castlevania games. Some heavy lifting there.
Yeah.
Jordan, are you ready to move into what this game does well?
Sure.
All right, let's get into it. So, Jordan, this game, Before like we got okay,
I need to prepare myself.
Well,
there's got to be something I can say about this game.
I have to put a lot of caveats out there because my first point is fairly general, and there are going to be a lot of criticisms of this game.
Okay.
So I am putting the umbrella around this game on my first point, which says the game is fun to play, especially when you get powered up. Like the moment to moment, like walking around, whipping enemies, getting cool weapons, like it's a fun game, generally speaking. The exploration, there's something about this game. I don't know that I can necessarily articulate what it is, but there's something about this game that I liked playing it for the most part.
Okay, so I'm right there with you. This isn't the first thing on my list, but this game has an indescribable quality, which I think is kind of what you're coming up against here.
Je ne sais quoi, isn't that what they call that?
I don't know. I don't speak Canadian. I don't speak Canadian. I have almost nothing nice to say about this game, but it's weird because I still enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
And not just I enjoyed playing it. The game doesn't reward you in any way. Like even when you beat the game, like it doesn't feel great, but I still kept wanting to come back and play it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always happen. Like a lot of times I have to force myself to finish the games because you guys know if you've been listening to this podcast, that's just who I am. But I kept wanting to come back and play this game, and I don't know why. There's something about this game. It's an indescribable quality. You can't quite put a finger on it, but there is something about this game that makes it worth playing.
Yeah, it's like, so further on the game is fun. Like I have some like sub points, and I have like, you get weapon upgrades, and there's like a good amount of items, and like using the parts of Dracula for utility. Like his rib turns into a shield, which is like, I mean, okay. You know, one of the things that we do on this show, sometimes talk about how weird these games are. Yeah. Which is totally weird that like the sprite is clearly holding a shield, but it's Dracula's rib.
Well, it's magic. Vampire magic.
Like how wide is that rib you're holding a rib in front of you and blocking these fireballs?
No, you misunderstand, Dan. You have a rib. It's a magical vampire rib. It's just on your person. You're not using it as the shield. It creates a magical shield in front of you when you're not moving. Or when you're not attacking. It's just it's magic, Dan. It's the same when you use his eyeball. You're not actually taking Dracula's eyeball and putting it into your eyeball socket. You now have the magical ability of the vampire to see through certain walls, but only certain walls.
See, I like what you're saying in theory.
Okay.
The problem is the game makes you select one item at a time. They're not passive upgrades.
Yeah. We'll get there.
I mean, so I'm just saying your logic falls apart when it's like I have to select the rib from my inventory to use it.
Maybe you only get the magic when you're holding said body part.
So in one hand you've got a whip, in the other hand you've got a rib.
Yeah.
And it's just like shielding you, but the shield goes down when you swing one arm instead of...
Yeah, Dan, obviously, because the shield has to go down, it's blocking you. If it didn't go down, you wouldn't be able to attack your enemies. This is just basic, obvious stuff.
Anyways, I like that it made the game more fun, that some of the parts that I was collecting like made the game play differently.
Yeah, some of them did stuff and you could tell what they did, and some of them you had no idea what they did, and some of them didn't seem to do anything.
Here, creepy boatman, I have this heart.
Yeah. Well, that kind of makes sense, though, because you're in a world where monster hearts are the currency, and now all of a sudden you have the heart of all monster hearts. You're not even going to let him have it. You're just gonna let him see it, and that's enough. That's enough for him to take you to the secret castle area.
Are you familiar with the merchant from Resident Evil 4? The "What are you buying?" Like, I imagine the boat guy is the "What are you buying?" guy from, and he's just like, "I have a heart of Dracula." I'll take you to a good place.
That's the cat who has wares. He's a cat person. He has wares to buy. If it's a modern PlayStation or Xbox game, I probably have only experienced it through memes on the internet that I didn't understand.
That makes sense. Jordan, my next point. This game probably has a top 10 NES soundtrack. The music in this game is so good.
Dan, for the longest time, the only point that I had under what this game does well is that the music is phenomenal.
Yes.
I think it fits the game perfectly. Sometimes we talk about games that have music that doesn't quite fit the genre.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, I feel like a legendary vampire hunter who's wandering around Transylvania when that music is on, and then night shows up, and boom, here's a different soundtrack, and it fits perfectly. I walk into a dungeon, a mansion, and boom, here's a new song, and it's like, ooh, it just got amped up a little bit. It's so good, so good.
The only music in this game where I wasn't like, oh man, was like the Dracula music. It was like the ending of the game. I was like, okay. I mean, this doesn't sound as good as the rest of the soundtrack, but the soundtrack is
like the credits or the actual Dracula fight.
Like when you're so you walk across, like there's the pillars, and you gotta navigate Dracula's weird hallways where you're falling down, like a pachinko machine or something. I don't even know what pachinko machines look like. And it's playing. You have the music that's like you're about to go fight Dracula. There's no monsters here.
Oh yeah.
Dracula.
Okay, so in the final in Castle, I like to think that it's called Castlevania.
It is.
Is his castle called Castlevania?
Yes.
Okay, I like that. So when you're in the Castlevania,
yes,
yeah, that whole section is a little weird.
Yes.
At first I was like, this is dumb that there's no monsters in this last castle. But then I realized, Dan, you know why there's no monsters in that castle? We killed them all in the first game.
Well, it didn't really look...
We got the lore. It makes perfect sense that there's not going to be any monsters in there because we killed them all.
Can't quite say that this castle reminded me very much of his castle in the first one.
No, I've seen, and I'm not being over-exaggerating or facetious here.
I really hope you're about to do like a Zelda timeline thing with Castlevania.
No, I'm not. I'm going to do something much worse. I have literally seen elementary students design better levels in Mario Maker. Like, this is the most basic slapdash dungeon that was ever put together. There's exactly one little puzzle that you have to figure out, and it's jumping over a wall. And that's it. And then it's literally like 3 platforms, you jump over a wall, and then here's Dracula.
Jordan, we're talking about what the game does well.
Oh, I know. I actually like the fact that there's no monsters and that it's really basic, because at first I was mad about it. And then I realized, as a person who gets really invested into the lore and story of franchises and individual games, I like that there are no monsters there because we kill them all.
Right. Which transitions nicely into another point that I have, is that the game didn't end with a stupid difficulty spike.
No.
One of my pet peeves.
Actually, the opposite.
Yeah. One of my pet peeves in games are like, you get to the end of the game, you're going to beat, we're going to make the game really, really, really hard and annoying all of a sudden, and we're going to taint your experience with this really nasty difficulty spike.
Yeah. Go see our last episode when it took 40 minutes to beat the final boss of Super Mario RPG.
I don't remember having a bad taste in my mouth after that one, but I don't know.
You do you, whatever, man.
Yeah. You wouldn't even know. You didn't even fight Smithy, so.
I watched it on YouTube.
Always.
Listen, this is the thing. If there's, a lot of games have a difficulty spike.
Yes.
This game would have what's more called a difficulty waterfall or a difficulty cliff, where you get to the end and all of a sudden it's the easiest part of the game.
Which transitions into the another point that I have, Jordan. Multiple endings.
Yeah.
I mean, this game, so they were like, let's make an RPG out of Castlevania, basically. And then there's like 3 endings in this game. And depending on, I think, the time it takes you to beat the game, gives you the different endings. So I like that feels, I don't know. I mean, 1987 is when this one came out. So I don't know if it was like ahead of its time, but it kind of feels like a pretty progressive NES game for some of the things that it was doing, some of the systems and whatnot. So I like that multiple endings is another one of those things where I'm like, I like that exists.
I'm glad that you feel that way.
You don't feel that way. You're just like, yeah, okay.
You know what, though? Here's the thing. As I was putting together my list, I realized something, and I actually went back and listened to our last episode to see what were some of our critiques of Castlevania 1, because I felt like I was maybe being a little bit unfair to this game because I had such a good experience with Castlevania 1, and I was having trouble, like I said, I was enjoying this game, but I was having trouble understanding why.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there are actually some things that this game does better than the first game.
Yeah.
Two big things stand out. The first thing has to be, we had a big problem with the stairs in Castlevania 1, where if you walk out onto a downward staircase, you just fall through it.
Yeah.
And they fixed that in this game. Where
there's like platforms. There's no like floating stairs.
Well, you don't have to hold the down button or hold the up button to risk falling through staircases.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, well, I went back and played a little bit of Castlevania 1 as I was listening to that episode, and I realized instantly, I was like, oh, I'm doing the annoying thing that we both hated where you fall through the stairs, and I didn't have that experience in Castlevania 2.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that was a better thing. They learned their lesson a little bit. It's not totally fixed, I realized, because I went and played all of the Castlevania games on the collection just to like try to get a point of reference. The whole stairs thing isn't totally fixed until the Super Nintendo Castlevania 4, when they finally fixed it where you can just press to the side and go up or down stairs like a normal video game should work. Another thing is the weapon upgrades in this game are permanent.
Yes.
Which is not true in Castlevania 1. If you die, you go back to the worst whip. And in this game, once you buy a better whip or whatever, Morning Star or Flame Chain thing, once you have it no matter how many times you die, which is
you
great.
Get the Flame Chain, it's game over.
Yeah, basically. I think even like the toughest monsters are like 2-hit kills.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The game gets fun once you get upgraded.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like, I restarted it last night, and I was like, let me just try to, I had an experience with this game. Let me go try to, now that I understand everything, let me try to re-experience it. And I had the leather whip, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to grind out upgrades right now. I think I'm just going to not play this anymore.
It's funny though, because in Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, 4, Bloodlines, all the ones I played, even the Game Boy ones, you have the leather whip, and then instantly in the first level, whenever you hit anything, like the first thing you destroy gives you a better whip.
Yeah.
So no other game forces you to be stuck with that crappy whip for any period of time.
Yeah.
And in this game, you're stuck with it. I was stuck with it until like the 3rd out of 5 mansions.
Yeah.
And so partially because I didn't know that you could buy better whips, partially because the game doesn't tell you that there are other whips. So kind of my fault, kind of the game's fault.
Yeah. Jordan, another point that I have that the game did well. I like the idea of the day-night cycle. I like the, so at first it was like, oh man, cool, a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
And then
it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Over and over. And you have to sit there for 15 seconds while the text comes, and then it slowly fades and unfades.
I was streaming some of this game, and I was like, how long is the day-night cycle? Shout out to SNES's Life and Emo Fergie for saying it's
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Right? Yeah, 5 minutes.
So after, when you want to go to a town to heal, and it's the nighttime, you can't go into buildings and go to the church to heal until you wait 5 minutes. So it's like, and enemies become stronger, and a bunch of things that we'll get into in a little bit.
Zombies come out in the towns.
Yeah, so it's like, I like the idea. I like that there's a day-night cycle here. I kind of like the idea of the monsters getting stronger and all that stuff. I just wish it didn't interfere as much with what I'm trying to do sometimes.
Yeah. I didn't care. It didn't bother me. I kind of liked it when I was like out just like traveling through areas, because often you'd get more hearts during night. And so it was a good time to farm money, basically.
Yes.
But it was a bummer when you go into a town. It's like, I need to go into this shop, or I need to go into the church, and you couldn't.
Yeah.
But and there's these zombies running around. I found out if you just go stand on the stairs, nothing can hurt you, and you can just stand there for 5 minutes. Not the most thrilling gameplay to just stand there for 5 minutes while you wait for the church to open, but not the worst thing ever, I guess, either.
And sort of, that's okay. The last point I have is kind of like the first point, which is like, this is on my list of the last point thing. This weird, this feels like the seed of something great. This game, there's like, you've got the day-night cycle, you've got a huge map, you've got these RPG systems, you've got like, because you're leveling up when you collect hearts, your XP goes up based on what level you are. Certain enemies will help you level up. There's like a lot of the idea of this game is like the rough draft of something great.
Yeah.
Which would later be probably a little game that most of you have heard of called Symphony of the Night.
I did hear that they were inspired by this Castlevania too.
So, and that game is important and phenomenal.
And expensive. It's mostly important and phenomenal because it's so expensive. No one would probably care about it. Actually, nobody did care about it when it came out at first.
Precisely. But this game is, it's the rough draft of Symphony of the Night, which is really interesting to see in a game from 1987.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that you put that in what the game does well, because I put the exact same point in what the game does poorly. I said it feels more like a proof of concept than an actual game.
Okay.
And there's times when it feels like a tech demo, where it's like, here are some ideas that we want to like further explore in a future game, and that's why the game doesn't explain anything and why it's so confusing and why you often have no clue what you're supposed to do, because it's just a tech demo. Don't worry about it. And so like you see that, and as a person who you have a degree in game development and like you like that side of things, so I think that that's a pro to you. As a person who plays games, I'd see that as why did you sell this as a full price game when this is obviously just somebody's like rough draft that never should have left the studio?
Oh man, I think that's a great place maybe to transition.
I think
what
so.
The
Yeah,
game doesn't do
for
so
sure.
well.
For me, one of the worst things about this game is that it often feels like a wild goose chase. And I have a whole bunch of things that kind of fall under this.
Mostly feels like a wild goose chase.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could have made this so much better. Like, you think about, what is the big difference between like this and Super Metroid?
You didn't want to put your head in the wall at Deborah's Cliff?
Yeah, or have any idea that you were supposed to do that. Like, there's no map. There's nothing that like tells you what makes certain items or certain areas accessible. Like, there's a lot of times that you need an item to make an area accessible, and you just have no clue what that is until you accidentally pick it up and then go back there. The NPCs are the opposite of helpful. Like, they actually, I guess they're supposed to like lie to you.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. And then you have like the bad English translation on top of that. So you're like, am I supposed to listen to this person, or are they like supposed to be obviously misleading me?
Yeah.
The whole health / currency / experience. We didn't even mention the hearts aren't just currency and ammunition. They're also experience points.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Oh, did you?
Briefly.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a three,
all right, maybe I didn't mention. All right, whatever.
The hearts have 3 functions, none of which are what you think a heart would do.
I have that on my list of what this game doesn't do well. Is the hearts multiple functions, as like, this just, you should have separated these systems, because it doesn't make sense that they're your ammo, they're your money, and they're your experience points. Experience points you should get from killing enemies, not just killing enemies that drop hearts. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then the way that the leveling system works, where the higher level you get, the lower level enemies their hearts don't give you XP anymore.
Yeah, they only give you ammo / currency.
So you have to fight harder enemies to keep leveling up, which I get the logic behind, fine.
But nothing tells you any of that.
But nothing tells you any of that, just your experience points going up or not going up when you pick up hearts.
Which you have to go into a sub-menu to check. So there's a lot of stuff here where you have all these systems that aren't intuitive at all.
Yes.
And it's just even basic things. So this being a wild goose chase, basic things like I want to go buy a new whip. I want to go buy something, anything. You walk into a shop, they're all empty. Every single town, you have these doors, you walk in and they're empty. Why are they empty? Well, apparently you're supposed to know that you're supposed to throw holy water / fire bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
And these shops will have hidden walls or hidden floors. And then if you go behind the hidden wall or floor, then there'll be a shopkeeper. Worst business plan in the history of the world. You want to sell stuff, but you're hiding underneath the floor or in the wall. What are you doing?
So there's nothing more obvious to me, Jordan, that to move a stone brick, you would light it on fire.
With water.
Fiery water.
Yeah.
Holy water. It's like a Molotov cocktail, I think.
Yeah. Obviously.
Why does the holy water break walls? I don't understand.
They're evil
this.
walls, Dan.
Why are the walls in every shop? I genuinely don't understand.
No, me neither.
Why all of the shops you walk into an empty room and you're just supposed to either throw it through the floor. Like what? Like why is this business owner hiding in these rooms? Like why?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Can we just get like Castlevania 1 doors maybe? I don't know.
Not only that, so you have in the towns the shopkeepers who are hiding behind walls or under floors. Then the only other people you can buy stuff from in the game are the guys who sell pieces of wood, which you can get everywhere. There's dead trees everywhere. These guys selling pieces of wood, and they're behind mountains of enemies in these mansions. It's like nobody knows how to run a proper business in Transylvania. So
talk about what the game doesn't do well.
Yeah, it's a wild goose chase. Even basic things that you want to be able to find, you can't. We talked about the items.
Yeah.
You have all these items that you pick up, and they do some cool stuff, which you would never know because it doesn't tell you, unless maybe if you read the manual, does it tell you these things?
No, it doesn't. Not really.
Yeah, and none of them are passive. These should all be passive items.
Oh, tell me about it.
You have to have them equipped.
That transitions into my first point is like some of these items are really obtuse, and they don't tell you nearly enough.
No.
So I beat the first mansion. I'm wandering around the world. I'm leveling up. I'm grinding. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm talking to the riverman. I talk to the guy. I get the blue crystal. Okay, great. I'm trying to figure out where's mansion 2. Where is mansion 2? I talk to another guy. I have the red crystal now. Okay, I'm going to need that. I know that's a thing I need in the future. I've heard about this game.
Yeah.
What does the blue crystal do, Jordan?
The blue crystal... If you
don't know, what would you think the blue crystal would do? The first, okay, so the white crystal
opened a mansion door.
It didn't open a mansion door.
Well, it let me get to the mansion.
No, the white crystal. It's the very first item in the game.
Yeah,
and I know this because it's in my memory. The white crystal. There's an invisible platform in the first mansion. That if you don't have the white crystal active, you can't see the platform that's scrolling up and down as soon as you walk into the first mansion.
Oh. So it kind of lets you in the mansion, but you could do without it.
You could. And if you guessed lucky, you can get on that platform. I've done it as a kid.
Guessed Lucky is my favorite Pharrell song featuring Daft Punk, or the other way around.
So the white crystal lets you see certain platforms. So what would you... Okay. All right.
So then the red one maybe would... Or you think the blue one would maybe let you walk on water?
Maybe. I mean,
I have no idea.
What do you
this
think?
is just a guess.
Well,
I know what it is because I've played and beaten the game.
Yeah. So I wandered around this whole game. I think I had gotten the Morning Star whip maybe at this point, maybe not, and I got the red crystal, and I'm like, where is Mansion 2? I have to look this up now because I was trying to play this game without looking stuff up.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're a glutton for punishment.
You've heard about Castlevania 2. It's a notorious game where it's this confusing thing.
I had never heard about it until we said we were going to play it, and then people were talking about it on Discord, and so I knew. They said right off the bat, like, don't try to, like, stick it out. Like, you have to look up stuff.
Yeah.
And so I never even bothered. Like, I looked up a map right away.
Yeah. So I looked up a guide. Shout out to CastlevaniaDungeon.net. Turns out the blue crystal lets you see beneath lakes.
See beneath lakes, which is not what it lets you do.
Well...
You can crouch down next to a lake, and then the screen will scroll down after a while.
Now, if you knew that the blue crystal lets you see beneath the lake, like, how do you think you would do it? Go maybe press up B, like everything else?
Oh, because you're saying to use items, it's normally up and B.
So, or to the white crystal just does what it does passively. You activate it, and then you see the platforms because you've got the white crystal activated.
Okay.
No, to use the blue and the red crystal, you have to duck for 5 seconds.
In very specific places.
And it's you would think you would
that
you
was
would
like a
think,
solid 5 seconds of flabbergastedness.
Well, you would think that like if you're trying to figure this game out and you press down to like see below the body of water. You would think that was like when you got the crystal and you're standing in the right spot, you press down and it does the thing.
Yeah.
5 seconds is a really long time to hold a button. You're going to give up by the time, like, even if you're in the right spot doing the right thing, you're going to be like, am I doing the right thing? Because it's so long before it activates.
Yeah. The map that I was looking at had some like things called out on it where you were supposed to use specific items. And they had another body of water that you could kneel down next to and it was supposed to refill your health. And I could never get that to work.
Really?
Yeah, with the blue crystal, you're supposed to kneel down next to it and it refills your health. Maybe I didn't at that time know that you had to have it equipped, so maybe I didn't have it equipped or something, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it to work. So maybe it also does something else to other bodies of water. But you're right, it's not intuitive. You would never know that. Some of the townspeople like try to give you hints about things, but they're not useful at all.
No. And then of course the red crystal. Well,
you go to a cliff and kneel down for 5 seconds, and then a tornado comes and carries you to the next mansion.
So you walk all the way to the left, basically, as far as you can go, and you find a cliff, and then the tornado basically takes you all the way to the complete opposite side of the map.
Okay.
As I was wandering around this world trying to find stuff, figure it out, I was like, where am I? What's going on? I was really trying to not use a guide. But
and you have to do a lot of backtracking. Like, they'll be like, okay, guess what, guys? The next mansion is on the complete other side. So go walk back through everything again. And then the next one will be on the complete other side again. So it's that's a little obnoxious, too.
Also, don't forget to show the waterman Dracula's heart so you can find the third mansion.
Yeah, which
the last mansion I beat on this game was the third mansion. I couldn't find it. You were like, he just takes you to it. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, he takes you different places. Like, what?
He takes you different places.
What? Come on now.
It's a little confusing.
So if you're going to play this game, just walk in knowing
you need a guide.
The crystals, white ones show you platforms, blue ones get you underneath bodies of water that look like they can't be crossed. The red one summons a tornado at a giant wall that you can't do anything at. And then Dracula's heart gets you to the third mansion.
Yeah.
That's what you need to I think that's what you need to know to enjoy this game.
Pretty much. I read a review I actually read a few reviews that were really interesting. It was people who played this game in 1987 or thereafter as kids, and they loved it because it was like a thing with all of the people in their neighborhood, and there's one kid who has a Nintendo Power subscription, and you can get some hints out of there, and everybody else is like crowdsourcing the solutions to all these puzzles, and it's this awesome community thing. That's not the case anymore because Nintendo Power doesn't exist anymore, and you're probably the only one of your friends who's playing this game. So you need to just make the internet your friend with a Nintendo Power subscription, and don't try to beat this yourself, because I don't think that's not how the game was made. And if you're going to play it that way, you're going to have a really bad time. Yeah,
it's just, I don't know. It's fun with a guide.
Yeah.
Because without a guide, you're wandering around for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I think my playthrough was significantly shorter than yours. I got the good ending because I used a guide and didn't have to like wander. I just always knew, okay, here's where I need to go next.
I didn't even know which ending I got.
What happened
it said
in your ending?
It was gray, and there was Count Dracula's headstone.
Okay.
And then I think the text was like, Simon Belmont will be remembered forever. So I think I got the bad ending where I died.
There's one where you die right away. And that's like the medium ending. I think there's an ending where Dracula lives and you die. And then there's an ending where you live for a little while and then eventually succumb to the curse and die.
I don't know.
So in all of them, Simon dies. So I'm not sure any of them are good endings.
Well, I think one of them that I think on the Wikipedia page it said the one ending was like
his hand sticks up through. Yeah.
Even though the text is like Simon defeated Dracula forever.
Yeah, no, not for
for all eternity or something. Or something
but he's obviously he's a vampire. He keeps coming back.
Well, separating the parts. Well, he shouldn't keep coming back. They should just keep his parts separated again, right?
Well, let the cursed person die, and the rest of the world goes on with their life. Although, if you remember the first game in Castlevania 1, the reason that Dracula came back is he was dead. and some people like poured human blood on his remains, and then he came back to life because he had died 100 years ago when your great-great-grandfather Christopher Belmont had killed him, who then in Castlevania 3 you're supposed to be playing as that character, but now he has a different name. His name isn't Christopher anymore. They changed his name to Trevor.
Yeah.
Which, like, come on, Castlevania, get your lore together. I guess maybe he's like Christopher Trevor Belmont. And he goes by his middle name.
No, his name is Chris Trevor.
It took a while for video games to realize that anybody cared about continuity, and so they don't always care about continuity.
Well, they probably didn't care about continuity because we didn't care, I don't think, much at the time, but nowadays that we're into things and things have grown, they're like, oh man, we made a mess of this. The Legend of Zelda? What was that about?
No, you were talking about that's the most like easy to understand franchise ever. You just look at the timeline; it's a perfect flow from the first game to Breath of the Wild. No prequels, no alternate dimensions, no spin-offs, nothing. It's just a straight shot.
It's like a comic series or something, or you relaunch the timeline and characters die, but they're never dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Got nothing there. Jordan, so, okay, one of the things that I try to do now is not nitpick the performance of these old games. But this one, in the mansions, when there's a bunch of enemies, this game turns into a slideshow.
I didn't notice it.
Really? Because there were times where I was like, this game is literally moving so slow, I cannot move my character right now. But it mostly happens in the mansions when there's like a bunch of skeletons on screens and stuff.
I kind of like vaguely remember that, but it didn't really, that didn't make my list with all of the many other things.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's not like a bad problem most of the time, but sometimes this game is just like, oh my goodness, I cannot play right now. Like a slideshow.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's very on brand for you. So.
Yeah. Well,
you got people. You're the one who's letting people know about that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, how about this one, Jordan?
All right.
The lack of bosses is kind of weird in this game.
Yeah, you have two mini bosses and then Dracula. Although the mini bosses are harder than Dracula, I would say. And
not in my experience, they were all about the same difficulty.
Only one of the two mini bosses is actually required for you to beat him. You can run right past both of the mini bosses, although one of them has an item that you need to get into Dracula's castle.
The giant mask. Which
Carmilla? Oh, you mean Carmilla, the female vampire? Surely you mean Carmilla.
So when I was playing this game, I was finishing it up yesterday. I was texting you like, I can't find Dracula's castle.
Yeah.
Can't find Dracula's castle. You're like, it's the right of the fifth mansion downstairs. I'm like, what are you talking
wouldn't
about?
Google it, so I had to Google it for you, is what that was.
I was like, just really trying to not lean too much into a guide. I really wanted to see if I could figure this game out. And it turns out that Dracula's castle was in a place that I had been before.
Yeah.
But apparently to get across that bridge, you need to have all of the items.
Yes.
But there's no indication that Dracula's castle is like behind this bridge.
Or what items you need.
It's just this town that nobody's in, except for like there's one guy who says like something weird and super creepy to you.
So like every NPC in the game.
But he's like, I don't know. He's like, let's live in this town together or something, like this abandoned town. It's like really
this
weird.
This guy was just trying to welcome you to live in the town with him, and you're calling him creepy? Not like the guy who says, get me out of here before I die, or I told you not to come back here after Castlevania. It's like, did you just make a meta reference?
Well, he's in like this derelict town that's like got a bunch of rundown buildings, and he's the only person there, and he's like, we should live here together. It's like, that's kind of, I don't know, man.
Whatever, man. Some people believe in love at first sight. I guess you're just not one of them.
So anyways, turns out that Dracula's castle was back in this derelict town that I had visited hours earlier in my playthrough and not remembered how to get there. And I had just gotten stuck, like I couldn't move forward to the right. So I was like, all right, I'll go back and just try to find the third mansion for another 2 hours.
Yeah. Man, you played this game so wrong.
Well, I did. But anyways, yeah, the mini bosses, like when you fight Death, he gives you the golden knife.
Yeah, which is, it takes one heart and it's sweet. It's awesome. You can just stun lock most people with it and kill everything in about 2 hits.
It's like a good version of the Castlevania knife.
Yeah,
classic.
which I think we called the worst sub-weapon in Castlevania 1, and then here it's
Could be
one of the only sub-weapons, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
But then the mask, like, you don't have to fight it to get the part of Dracula. It's like in this giant boxed room where you just can walk right by it and get Dracula's part, and then you can walk back by and not even fight it.
You have to fight the mask to get the
Cross to get into Dracula's castle, because of course you need the cross to throw holy water to get it across the bridge.
Everybody knows that vampires love crosses, and so you can't get into their castles without one.
Well, maybe is this okay? So this is Dracula is in Castlevania, right? So why would I could understand it if he was like locked in some kind of tomb where they were like he's behind a door that requires a cross to get in because he's sealed. But this is a problem. We have to resurrect him and kill him.
Okay.
But I think he's technically in Castlevania. He's in his own castle. So why would you need a cross to get into Dracula's castle?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I want to make any sense. This is like...
Just go read the book. Just go read the book and don't worry about the story
Is there
of the game.
Are you talking about Dracula? Or are you talking about
the book Dracula.
The book's fantastic.
You've
the
read
book is
it.
phenomenal. I have read
read
it.
it. Okay.
It's one of my favorite books. It's really good.
Okay.
That book gave me like a nice sense of like dread the whole time. Like you're just waiting for like the boogeyman to jump out of the closet, as you would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, that book has like a really interesting sense of foreboding that I haven't experienced in a lot of other books, or maybe ever. But anyways, yes, the fight the giant mask, the vampire Carmilla to get the cross.
Carmilla.
Yes, as made famous by the Netflix series Castlevania.
Also, by her stint in the NBA, Carmilla Anthony.
Apparently, she's in like a PS2 game. I was a complete. I like Castlevania. I generally, as a like a retro game fan,
as a franchise.
Yeah, I'm like, I like Castlevania. Then when they introduced Carmilla in I think the second season of Castlevania, I was like, who is this? Why are they just making stuff up? And then I looked into it and I realized how ignorant I am about the lore of Castlevania, and like I just pretend like the PS2 games and stuff don't exist. Sorry, guys. I don't know. But apparently she's in Castlevania too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
I'm just dead wrong about it all.
I think it's probably because you aren't as big a Castlevania fan as you think.
No,
I never have heard you say Castlevania is a pretty cool guy. It kills vampires and isn't afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that.
Well, we don't hang out all the time.
Okay. Well, that's just a thing that us Castlevania fans tend to say.
Castlevanians.
Yeah, Castlevanians. All right, I have one last thing on my list here.
All right.
And it's the fact that the game is super anticlimactic. That whole, what do we call that?
The lack of a difficulty spike.
Waterfall,
Yes.
difficulty cliff. You get to the final castle. It is completely empty, although I understand it makes sense, like, canonically. It just isn't the best feeling when you get to the end of a game that you've been, it's quite the adventure. You're on Simon's quest.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't know if you've ever seen an adventure movie of some kind. You get to the end, and there's like a real big climax. And in this game, there is no such thing. You walk in, the body parts all come together. It is quite possibly the easiest boss fight in any game, which is kind of crazy because we talked about how difficult Castlevania 1 was, specifically how difficult some of the later bosses were. And you don't need to know a pattern. I had the golden knife. I got in there. I stun-locked Dracula. Killed him in 10 golden knives or something. It wasn't hard at all. He didn't even move. I was like, okay, that was the cheating way to do it. That must be like the holy water from Castlevania 1. So I reloaded my save state, went back in, and killed him in about the same amount of time using the whip, even with him flying around the screen and throwing out bats and all this stuff. And so it's very bizarre. You get the final end credits where no matter which one you get, like, you die.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's a very weird ending. It's like, all right, guys, out of time, pull the plug. It's like, we haven't done anything with the last dungeon or boss or credits. Like, don't worry about it. No one's going to get there anyway because we didn't put in any clues on how to get there.
They were like, all right, literally 0 people have beaten the first Castlevania, but they like it. So how can we have literally 0 people beat the second Castlevania? well, let's put the crystals in the game and not tell anybody what they do. And don't worry about the Dracula fight because nobody's going to get to it anyways. We're going to make this game so obtuse and obscure that we don't even need to worry about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice.
So can't wait to play Castlevania 3 and see what...
I actually, like, that's the thing. So after we played Castlevania 1, I was like, I can't wait to play more Castlevania. And here we are playing Castlevania 2. I had a lot of bad things to say about it. It's weird. I still, like, kind of enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
And I still want to play more Castlevania. Like, I went through the collection and played a little bit of all the Castlevania games, and I'm like, dang, I want to play more Castlevania. So this game did not harsh my vibe, as they say in the 70s.
Jordan, I have a few more things to say.
Fire away.
This game didn't do so well. The lack of healing items in this game is frustrating, to say the least, because one of the things that's really irritating about this game, when you get a game over, it wipes out all your experience points.
Yeah.
I understand, like, wiping out my hearts or, like, punishing me for getting a game over, but why wipe out my XP? The XP is kind of, the levels take forever to grind up a lot of the time, and I think
they're terrible, but
they're kind of terrible.
I think you level up at 100, 150, 200, 250. I think it's like that kind of thing.
That's a lot of hearts.
Yeah,
that's a lot of hearts.
But you can grind them pretty fast at night.
Yeah, but that's no. It takes.
This is just another product of the fact that hearts are currency, experience points, and ammo. Is that when they want to punish you in some way for using a continue, and the only way they can do that is by taking away all of your ammo, all of your experience points, and all of your currency, because they are the same thing.
It's annoying, and it compounds, like, just you can only heal at churches, and apparently there's a lake where you can heal. I didn't know that.
Maybe.
But it's like, what? So you have garlic and laurels. Garlic, like, sticks enemies to it, and laurels let you.
It also, like, reveals certain NPCs.
Yeah, like.
I never used
garlic on a grave, and he's like, "Hey."
Yeah. Well, then he knows it's safe. I can come out in the graveyard, because it's not safe usually, because that's where baddies hang out. But if there's garlic, that means at least there won't be any vampires around.
Thank you for this garlic. Have this silk bag.
Yeah, which great trade, honestly. Silk, especially think about silk back then. What was this, like the 1400s? Silk was a hot commodity.
Yeah. Well, silk, I think, according to the manual, allows you to carry more herbs.
Well, it makes sense, because you think about it, if you have a rough, scratchy bag, your herbs are going to get stuck in the coarse fibers. But if you have a silk bag, you're going to be able to scoop all of the herbs out without any of them being stuck in the coarse fibers.
All of the laurels, which make you invincible for a few seconds.
Yeah, laurels, which I believe are like the olive branch crowns that the Caesars wore. So maybe that's why they wore them. Maybe that's why Caesar wore a laurel crown, was to... Apparently they don't protect against knives in the back, though, so just know that.
They don't protect you for very long, either. There's only about a 10-second range on any particular laurel protection.
Gotcha, good point.
So
it's kind of like a Mario star that you can keep 8 of them in your inventory and use them for 10 seconds at a time.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take a silk bag.
Silk bag full of
laurels.
Caesar crowns.
Full of herbs.
Full of little Caesars, if you will.
But yeah, I would have liked for them to add, like, another item that I could purchase that, like, I don't know, refills a few hearts or something. Maybe like maybe pork.
Not hearts.
Wall pork.
No. It wouldn't refill hearts. It would refill bars.
I'm sorry, life bars. Yes.
Life bars.
If your lifesaver.
Oh, I think you mean your health sword.
Yeah.
It would make way too much sense to call it a lifesaver.
Oh, man. And Jordan, last point. This game has some of those classic Castlevania gotchas that are so freaking annoying.
Yeah. Less of them that just, like, straight up kill you, but more of them that are just kind of annoying.
Oh, don't worry. Some of them will drop you onto spikes where you will bounce back and forth 3 or 4 times and instantly die.
Yeah. So what Dan's referring to is in the mansions, there are several platforms that look like a platform that I could walk across this, but joke's on you, it's an invisible, or it's not invisible. It is visible, but it has no substance. So you walk onto it and you fall through, and now
It's a phantom.
Yeah, you're on whatever was below you. Sometimes that's just another platform and you have to backtrack and go back up and try to jump over the thing without having any clue of where it is other than just trying to remember from last time.
You know what sounds like a fun mechanic, Jordan? Let's put an invisible block or a block that you can fall through right before you find the part that you need of Dracula in this mansion, and then to go back and platform through the entire mansion all over again to get the part.
Joke's on you for not using save states every time
I did use save states, but I wasn't using them that often.
I started to after the first couple of those.
Yeah, well, then you learn that you want to have holy water equipped almost the whole time, and you want to walk a block and throw holy water, and 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 walk a block and throw holy water. Or an easier way sometimes is
use a map that just shows you where the hidden blocks are.
Or the skeletons that pace back and forth will stop at invisible. Or stop the transparent. What are we calling these? The phantom blocks. They're not invisible.
They are
invisible holes.
The holes, yeah. I guess they are blocks without substance, without matter. They don't matter, Dan. They have no matter. I did find out this week. I actually was completely unrelated, although slightly related because the blocks don't have matter. I found out that the noun matter, like the thing that all of everything is made out of, and the verb, like this matters, are related. Whereas, like you say, it doesn't matter because you're saying it has no substance. It has, and I was like, that's crazy.
Fun fact.
Language, fun fact. You guys didn't realize this is an etymology podcast.
Yeah. But anyways, on the gotchas, there are a few screens where the enemy placement, like when you walk onto them, is like, haha, you walked into a skeleton as soon as you walked into this part of the world.
Yeah, like there were a few of those, which I had trouble with because I had the leather whip for so long, where normally if you have the strong whip, you walk into a screen, bad guy, and you hit them once and they're gone. You walk in with a leather whip, hit them 4 times, except for you don't have enough time to hit them 4 times, so they're going to hit you and knock you back into the previous screen, which means that now when you go back, they have full health again, and so you have to like time it and jump over them real quick. Yeah, you want to make sure that you get the weapons as fast as you can, the upgrades as fast as you can. If
out of 10, how would you rate the difficulty of Castlevania 1?
10.
10? I would call it probably an 8.
Yeah.
So if Castlevania 1 is like an 8 to 10 in difficulty because of the weirdness of that game, the platforming, the knockback, this game is probably an 8 to 10 for different reasons.
Yeah, I would say if you have a guide, this game is a 2 or a 3. It's a very easy game.
It's much easier to play. The gotchas aren't as much of like the thing that makes the game hard.
Yeah.
But the obtuseness is what makes it hard. But the gotchas are still a thing where it's like, oh, there's Castlevania.
Yeah.
I remember you. You like to put me in weird, awkward spots that I can't avoid damage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that lessens as we play more of the games and they get more experience with not making horrible choices.
Well, there were a couple of times when I died and I respawned and then there was like 2 enemies like in front of me and behind me. And you get a few seconds of invulnerability when you respawn, but it was like, oh, this is a perfect situation that I can't get out of. Thank you for respawning me in this death hall again.
Classic.
Good old Castlevania. Jordan, that exhausts my list
Same.
of what this game doesn't do so well. So let's move on to the rest of our show. So, Jordan, what do you think you would pay for the experience that you had with Castlevania 2?
Yeah, okay, so I own the Castlevania collection from Konami, which is phenomenal. I managed to pick it up for less than $5 because I had gold points. It was on sale. I think it's usually $20, which even at that price, it's a good price for the amount of games you get. But in like the last 3 months it's gone on sale twice now for $5. So if these are games you're interested in, I would say put them on your wish list. So I paid less than $5 with my gold points and the deal that was going on. In my opinion, I went through and played all of the games on there, not the Japanese versions. I just played the North American versions. In my opinion, this is the second worst Castlevania game. The only one that was worse was
Castlevania 1.
No, Castlevania. No, I liked that game. The Castlevania Adventure, which was the first Game Boy game, because it's like really slow.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a problem with the gameplay, but it feels really slow. The second Game Boy game was better. Even Kid Dracula was more fun than Castlevania 2. So, since it's hard because I got such a good deal on it, and there's so many better Castlevania games. For me, I think like I still did have fun with this. There's something weird about it where like I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll ever play it again, but I appreciated playing it just because I am growing in my enjoyment of these. Like there's something about this Castlevania series, like you say, that I'm interested in. I want to play more of it. So I'm glad I played it. I don't know how I'd ever play it again. So I think like all of that combines to say like $2. My old standby.
$2.
My old standby. I'm never going to play this game again.
No.
But, it does have some value.
All right. So if we were to travel back to the era when we started this podcast in 2018.
Okay.
And there was no Castlevania collection that you could get for $5 on the Switch or 20 at full price.
Yeah.
Which 20 is worth it too on that collection. Where are you at on Castlevania 2? Is it still a $2 experience?
Oh.
For like the NES cartridge, if you're starting your NES collection.
Yeah, this isn't in it.
No,
this isn't in my collection.
No. So
like I said, I have no just like I go through and play. There's so many good Castlevania games that are actually fun. And like you can actually just like play through and you know what you're gonna get and it makes sense. And there's even ones that do what this game does and they just do it better.
Yeah.
So I don't like, other than for historical purposes.
Yeah.
I don't see the value of this game.
Okay, so you're just for $2 experience.
Like $2, I would pick it up because I'd feel bad leaving it on the shelf at $2. And yeah, I'm literally never gonna play it. It's only something to look at that point.
Man.
Like I could maybe use it as a coaster.
Yeah.
If I get enough copies of Castlevania 2, I could use them as a doorstop. Glue them together, use them as a doorstop.
There you go. That's a good use.
Yeah.
Gut for me is coming in at like $8 or $9.
Okay. You had a miserable time with it.
I didn't have a miserable time. I said there's something about this
I could go back and read my... Yeah, you said that, but when I read my text messages from you, you didn't ever seem to be having fun when you were playing it.
Well, all right. So I do have nostalgia for this game. So I was like excited to like hop back in and the music, and it's like,
you played this when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, I didn't play very much of it when I was a kid because you couldn't figure it out, but you know, it was
you didn't have a friend with a Nintendo Power subscription, obviously.
So I don't know if nostalgia. No, I don't think that's a nostalgic, like, price out of my mouth. I really do think $8 or $9. Part of me is like, when I had difficulty with the first Castlevania, out of spite, I was like, I'm gonna learn to beat this game without dying because screw you, Castlevania.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, I'm like, oh, now that I know all of your tricks, Castlevania 2, maybe I want to play you again to see what's up. So there's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm walking away from this experience without like, I'm glad that's over. I hope I never do that again.
See, you're
more like, would I like to speedrun this game? Maybe.
You look at this game and say, now I know all of your tricks. I look at this game and say, fine, keep all your secrets.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, I feel like after I have now ironed out all of the wrinkles of Castlevania 2, that if I were to play it in the future, I would actually have a pretty good time with it. Because like I said, the gameplay is fun. When you get powered up, the game is fun to play.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You
don't get tricked by all this stupid invisible holes where you can fall through. Like, the game is fun.
The thing that's fun about it that takes you a couple hours to get to is the thing that the other games do immediately off the bat. So I don't understand.
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you mean maybe? The thing you had fun with was getting a cool weapon and killing a bunch of bad guys. That's literally the first screen of all these other Castlevania games.
The soundtrack, though, Jordan.
Yeah, they also have great soundtracks. It's part of the franchise. They keep using the same awesome songs.
Whatever, man.
No, I want you to think about it critically.
I'm at $9
I want you to think about it critically.
$9.
That's ridiculous. All right, let's move on.
So what do you think this one's going for?
Well, the first one was selling for $30, $31, I think is what we said.
Yeah,
that was a few months ago, so it's probably about $60 now.
Probably like 85-ish.
This game is significantly worse. So I'm going to say this one goes for $15.
You nailed it, Jordan.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
I'm so glad to hear that the market lines up with the quality.
Yeah.
Because 1 is a better game, 3 is a better game, 4 is a better game, Bloodline's a better game, the Game Boy game is a better game, the second
the
one.
The Game Boy game.
Not the first one. Kid Dracula, which I don't even understand how that's a Castlevania game, it's a better game.
Yeah, okay.
In my opinion, which is subjective and I'm entitled to it, so whatever. $15.
So you said the quality lines up with the price. That means you're calling it worth it.
No, I'm just saying I wouldn't personally pay $30 for the first one either because I got it in a collection for $5. But I'm glad to see that the second one is worth half of what the first one was going for.
Now, what do you think the pale tax is on this one, Jordan?
Maybe this will be one of those rare occasions where it's not crazy much. I'm going to say $18.
$32 for the PAL version.
I just doubled. I almost just said just double it. I should have. That's a real bummer.
Should've.
I think it's an easy worthless for our PAL friends.
Yeah. It's an easy worthless for our PAL friends.
It's easy worthless for our North American friends.
It's slightly more difficult worthless for our North American friends.
It's not. This is the thing. If you want to play this game today and you're not a collector, which, man, I really hope you're not in 2021 because just look at the prices these games are going for. Buy the digital version. You get a whole bunch of great games. Put it on your wish list. Wait till it comes on sale for $5. It might still be on sale. It probably won't be by the time this episode comes out. But put it on your wish list. Wait for it to drop to $5. There's no reason not to buy the collection for $5. At that point, absolutely worthless. Oh, whoa. At that point, absolutely worth it, let me say, because you're getting a whole bunch of other great games. At $15, though, there's no reason. Unless you're a collector, at which point you don't care what we say.
Yeah, right. And yeah, you gotta just play it with the guide so that you know what the crystals in the heart do.
Yeah, it's worth playing.
You can figure it out when you know what the items do.
You can figure it out when you have figured it out. It's easy.
Well, if the manual told you, like, blue crystal lets you see below lakes, great. But red crystal summons the elements or something. Or
that still wouldn't help you because you would have no idea that a tornado was supposed to come and carry you somewhere.
The red crystal helps you
listen to walls,
climb cliffs or something.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Well, then you would have been pressing up.
Yeah. Well, you probably should have pushed up anyways.
Yeah.
But
anyway, we've done it. We've beaten Castlevania 2 to death.
We did it. Castlevania 3. We got our sights on you sometime. Someday we're going to tell you about your game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've played it like a few times. I don't know a lot about Castlevania 3, so that one will be a lot of fun to sort of explore for the first time. But
yeah, I had a great time with just a little bit I played of all of the other games on the collection, so I'm always down for more Castlevania. All right. We are going to move on, I think.
Yeah, we are. Trivia.
So we kind of already blew up one of our trivia questions, but I thought that might happen, so I did come up with the second one. Dan, in the final cutscene, Dracula's grave states the dates 1431 to 1476.
Yes.
What do these dates refer to? There's dates on there. Do you have any idea? You're giving me a quizzical look.
Not initially.
Okay. No. Here's some multiple choices to give you some options. All right. Are they just totally random dates that don't mean anything? That's option A. Option B. Are they the dates of the start and end of the Transylvanian Civil War? Option C. Is it the dates of Bram Stoker's birth and death? Or D. Is it the dates of Vlad the Impaler's birth and death?
Okay, well, the book Dracula was written in the 1800s.
Ooh, so there you go.
It's not Bram Stoker.
Can mark that one off down to 3. You got a 33.333 repeating chance.
I want to say that they don't mean nothing. Because
this game would definitely never put in anything in the game that doesn't mean nothing.
All right.
Every single bit of text in this game has a meaning and a purpose behind it.
Fair enough. They don't mean anything.
That's your guess?
I'm trying to read your eyes.
You gotta lock it in. I'm Regis Philbin, and this is Millionaire. Are you locking in your final answer?
I don't know what the Transylvanian Civil War is, if that's an actual thing.
Wow, you didn't learn about that in history class?
I might have, but I don't remember my 1400s history right about now, so can't necessarily. That sounds made up. Vlad the Impaler, I feel like I know that name, but I don't. Was Vlad the Impaler part of the inspiration for Dracula?
He was, yeah.
He was.
Well, this is the thing. Pretty much everybody thinks that Dracula was based on Vlad the Impaler. Okay. Although when they've gone through Bram Stoker's notes, he took very detailed notes. He wrote books and books full of notes before he even started writing Dracula. Okay. And they've gone through all of his notes, and there's nothing in there about Vlad the Impaler. And they also think that one of the women in the book was based on a specific person, and she's not mentioned in the notes. So it's still a common theory that they think that Dracula was based on a real-life person named Vlad the Impaler, but there's not a whole lot of evidence to back that up, that Bram Stoker actually got that idea from that historical person.
Well, let's go with that one. Let's go with Vlad the Impaler.
Yes, Dan.
Yes.
Vlad the Impaler's birth and death. He didn't live for super long, I guess, 31 to 76, and that's why they put that on Dracula's grave, which is kind of funny because he was alive 100 years earlier, like it tells us that in Castlevania 1, and so maybe it's just maybe he's been dead for longer than he's been alive and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Typically, vampires live a long time. That's sort of part of the lore.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, it was just a nice little throwback in there to Vlad the Impaler. Even I saw on some stuff they call Dracula Vlad. Yeah. Like when I was looking at a walkthrough, like the nail was called Vlad's nail.
Yeah. Well, I think it's his part. That's part of his name. I think his first name is Vlad or something.
Vladimir Dracula.
No, not that, but I think Dracula is like his last name. Or
I
like
thought
part
his
of his
first
last
name was Count.
No.
The Count.
No.
Vladimir Dracula.
That's the guy from Sesame Street. Yeah, I did it. Jordan, we haven't said in a while, you can submit trivia for stickers, right?
You can, yes. And this is where it helps to know what we're playing next. Our next game is actually going to be Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear.
If you have some Metal Gear Solid trivia, don't send it to Dan. No. You're going to want to either DM me, Jordan, on Discord, or you're going to want to send it in a DM to our Instagram or Facebook. If you DM it to Twitter, Dan will see that.
Oh, that's true.
So don't send it to Twitter. You can send it to Facebook, Instagram, or me on Discord. Those are all places you can send it. Our Instagram and Facebook are at WIOW Podcast.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid, Jordan. This is a game.
Metal Gear Solid.
This is another one of those games.
It's a Konami game.
It is a Konami game. You know, we are in the throes of Jalami Part 2 Okami.
Yeah, no, we decided we weren't going to do a pun. This is just October. We happened to be playing Konami games. We actually did get cease and desist letters from lawyers at Tengen and Data East saying, why not Data East December? Why not Tengember? So just something to think about, Dan.
Why would we get a cease and desist telling us
because
what to
they're
do?
like, you guys only care about Konami. You've done 2 Konami months in a single year, 2 Castlevania games. So I'm just saying.
Well, that's not how cease and desists work.
Dan, they want us to cease and desist playing Konami games and instead
that's not going to happen.
Play some Tengen and Data East games.
Konami might be. I might be out on a limb here.
Okay.
But hear me out.
I will.
As far as the retro gaming market goes, and in my brain that means PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and before.
Okay.
Konami might be a top 5 developer.
How you set this up like you were about to make some big,
well, I'm
huge,
just saying,
like controversial statement, and then you give them top 5.
Yeah, that might be controversial to some people.
I highly doubt that's controversial.
It could be, and especially since people don't like Konami nowadays. That's why.
That's fine.
That's why
you
the
can
caveat
have
with
a
the
problem
retro gaming
with Konami
market
nowadays. But wow, okay.
Yeah, they might be top 5 retro game developers. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Jordan, where are we going next?
Metal Gear
Bounty?
Solid. Oh, yeah.
Bounty.
We have a bounty winner from last month. What were we giving away, Dan?
Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Weird. Another Konami game.
Weird.
Huh.
The only desert island game you need.
Maybe if Data East and Tengen sent us some games to give away, we'd cover more of their games.
Yeah.
All right. We have a winner. We drew a winner, and our winner of the Turtles in Time.
We have a winner.
Super Nintendo.
We drew a winner, and our winner is.
Here they are, and this is their name. You are.
It was
this
somebody who
person.
entered the bounty.
Yes.
They entered the bounty last month for the copy of Turtles in Time for the
Yeah.
Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
They did. And that person is
they
a
were
real
on-
live human being who lives and breathes. And their name.
That is somebody who Jordan took part in our retro gaming roundtable.
Okay, that narrows it down significantly.
Significantly to
It
one
was
of
TH Spurs fan. I don't want to do that to Shanks. I don't want Shanks to be getting his hopes up.
But Shanks has won. Shout out to Shanks, who's
Shout out
won
to
several
Shanks
bounties.
and participated in
Yes.
our community day.
roundtable, and is one of the most active people on Discord. We love you, Shanks.
Yeah.
But TH Spurs fan also, he's on Discord. He's
What
on
a
our
guy.
roundtable. He likes games that I've never heard of most of the time.
That's true. We did. So the bounty required you to send us your top 5 Super Nintendo Desert Island games, and I have heard of one of these games. he number 1 on his list, Front Mission. Front Mission. I'm assuming you go on a mission.
I think it's something about
Preferably
mechs.
in the front.
I don't know.
It does say Squaresoft's tactical mecha with tons of customization and strategy. Yep. So it sounds cool. Super Ghosts and Goblins. I had this one on Super Nintendo. Got it at a garage sale.
Yeah.
Had a good time with it. So that's a good one. I don't know. Yeah, it's a very hard game. So maybe a good one.
Yeah,
for
that
Desert Island.
franchise is pretty notoriously.
Trials of Mana, aka Seiken Densetsu 3. I think you made that one up. TH Spurs fan.
Is that in the secret of Mana franchise? Is there a Mana franchise? I mean, we are big RPG guys.
Yeah, you have
here,
to tap
so
your mana or else you can't attack.
Isn't that
in
Magic the Gathering?
Magic the Gathering, yeah. Number 4, Terranigma. Terranigma, that's a thing. I'm guessing there's a scary enigma, or it takes place on Earth. It's an Earth enigma. It's one of those two. And number 5, you're making these up. Hagane, the Final Conflict. Hagani.
And this is what I appreciate about TA Spurs fan. Because, like, a lot of people's lists were like, they have the classics, you know, your Super Mario Worlds, your Legend of Zeldas, etc. The games that
I can't think of any
the
others.
Super Metroids. Like, a lot of people have these big Nintendo, like, first party games, or like Final Fantasy 3, like the games that everybody, you know, who plays retro games has basically heard.
And TH Spurs fan went out there on a limb. He made up some of his own games, and he's bringing imaginary ones, which takes a lot of guts.
I appreciate the depth of, like, I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of, like, there are great games out there that I have no idea what they are. And TH Spurs fan seems to be a consistent source of a part of gaming that I'm just not familiar with. And that's what I enjoy about TH Spurs fan.
That's most things for me.
If you couldn't tell from listening to this podcast.
What is a Castlevania?
Exactly. Well, it is a hallway that Dracula lives behind.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, thank
This
you so
time
much
around.
for entering. This month, we got another thing. If you're like, I wanted to win that, well, don't worry. We're giving away something else this month. Every month, we're giving away something. So if you're listening in the future, go listen to the newest episode and see what we're giving away
Yeah,
this month.
This month, in honor of Okami and Metal Gear Solid.
Goodness.
Shout out to Mateus, who's mad because Okami is actually a Capcom game, so it extra doesn't fit.
Yeah,
with
it
the accidental
really
theme.
doesn't work. So we're
I
not.
like it. I'm a big fan of.
We're gonna stop
Okami.
saying Okami. Okay.
We'll see what we come up with in November. I don't have a plan, but maybe I can come up with something to connect the game when we do.
Anyway, we're giving away
in November. We do our top 10 Desert Island Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Stop.
games.
That's not happening. Don't say things that aren't real because then people expect us to do them.
That would be a hilarious episode, I think, to do our top 10 Desert Island Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Where do I submit my 2 weeks? If I submit my 2 weeks, you get one last episode for it, and you can make me do that one. So no, I won't even give you 2 weeks.
I don't know about Kami. We're doing Metal Gear. We're doing so. We are giving away some Metal Gear swag. We got a couple Metal Gear pins.
That's what MGS stands for.
Metal Gear swag.
Metal Gear swag.
Metal Gear swag. We got a water bottle and some pins from Fangamer. So it's cool Metal Gear stuff. And we want to know what your favorite goofy mechanic is in a video game, or like mini
Wait, when
games.
you say goofy mechanic, are you talking about specifically stuff from Kingdom Hearts?
Stop. Maybe, you never know.
Could it be a Donald Duck mechanic? Or only Goofy?
I have no idea about Kingdom Hearts things either. Even though I'm a big fan of RPGs, anyway. So in Metal Gear Solid, you can do things like climb in cardboard boxes and hide from enemies and mess with the AI and do like a bunch of fun stuff. That's like there's a lot of quirkiness to Metal Gear Solid where it's like, I wonder if I can do this weird thing with this item, and there's a good chance that maybe you can.
It's sort of a thing, especially modern games. Think about like Breath of the Wild's got all sorts of wacky stuff you can do.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite goofy mechanic from a video game?
In honor of Metal Gear, like being weird, like tell us about your favorite weird thing in a video game, and if you want to win some Metal Gear swag from Fangamer.
Awesome. All you have to do to enter is send us a direct message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can find us at WIOW Podcast. You can also message Dan or myself on Discord and enter that way. You can always earn bonus entries by participating in our conversation on Discord. You have to submit an actual entry to earn those bonus entries, though. You can also send us an email if that's more your thing. You can send us an email.
The email.
Where do they send those?
Worth it or worthless podcast at gmail.com.
Do not send them to strongbad@homestarrunner.com or he will be very confused.
And as always, the rules, if you want them in writing, because we've been rambling for 10 minutes about this, are in the podcast description. So, Jordan, something we don't. This ends at the end of October, the last day of October. The bounties have a hard cutoff on the last day of the month.
Yeah, Dan's really locking down. It's in the rules now.
It's in the rules in writing.
We used to be a little more flexible.
Yeah, there's no flexibility with that anymore.
Can't have any flexibility. No fun, no flexibility.
Yeah.
If you break the rules, you get the tools.
Nope.
No.
You just don't get entered.
You don't get entered.
Don't get entered.
Okay.
Jordan, another thing that we're doing Extra Life. It's almost Extra Life
back.
Day.
Here it is again.
For the kids.
It's for the kids. Listen. Listen, I'll have a sore butt and sore kidneys for the kids.
Because we're going to be gaming on November 13th, 2021, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at twitch.tv/worthitoworworthless, and we're going to be raising money for a local children's hospital.
Yeah, we did this last year. We raised a good amount of money.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much it was. It was enough.
A little over $1,000 last year.
That's like, think about $1 and then picture 1,000 times, and that's how much money we raised.
Yeah, so we're trying to game for the kids. So that'll be in about a month right after this episode comes out. I think this episode's coming out on October 12th? Or something.
Yes, it's a good time.
Yes, the 12th. So.
You guys come to the chat, encourage us. You can bribe us with you say, I'll do a cash donation if you guys, and then you can
do a no-death turbo tunnel run on Battletoads.
No, please don't do that. Like, for example, we were playing NFL Blitz, and one of my brothers came on and said that they would donate if I punted the ball on first down.
We were not playing NFL Blitz.
What were we playing?
We will
Tecmo Bowl.
Well, we will be playing NFL Blitz this year.
We were playing Tecmo Bowl. Same concept. I had to punt on first down. And we got money for the kids, so it was worth it. And I still beat Dan, so it didn't matter.
If you guys want to see how I really feel about playing games with Jordan, tune into the Extra Life stream.
Yeah, because we'll be in the same room this year.
Yeah, I'm going to be probably highly triggered against my friend from NFL Blitz, which is one of the only games that I've rage quit in the history of the podcast.
Well, we can go and we'll make sure to schedule something right after it where you destroy me. So
every other game.
I'm having trouble thinking of one, but we'll find something. He's got to be good at
Super Mario
something.
Kart. Yeah. NHL hits. Get up, drop the bombshell.
Probably can't play that one because we get flagged for copyright.
We'll just turn the music down.
Good point.
Turn the music down in the beautiful options menu. Jordan, we're also doing a Metal Gear Solid boss fight book club thing experiment that's coming up soon. If you want to join a roundtable discussion about Metal Gear Solid, probably sometime in November, I think. I don't know exactly when. After we play the game, we're gonna read a book and discuss about the finer points of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, we're not really sure. It's our first time doing it. It'll be like a book club. If you've ever been a part of it. If you haven't, this is a great chance to try something new.
Yeah, so I've read the Spelunky boss fight book, and I've read part of the Mario 3 boss fight book, and they get into like the details of like the behind the scenes and development, and so I don't know if that's the nature of this one, but generally they are like about interesting things about the game. So if you want to join us for that, we'll probably say something somewhere about it, or join us on Discord, or send us a DM and ask us a question. Details are fuzzy, but it's coming soon. So read the Metal Gear Solid boss fight book if you're interested.
Yes, in the yes.
Yes, in the yes. Jordan, I think I think we did it.
I think so.
I think we did it. I think somehow this episode, this brief game that should only be a few hours long,
what happened?
Turned into one of our longest podcast episodes.
I don't know what's happening.
We did it.
Send help.
You got anything else before we close this out with our music segment?
No. Tune in 2 weeks for Metal Gear Solid. I'm excited. I've never played it. Yeah. I hope I don't hate it. There's a lot riding on this.
Speaking of tune in, Jordan, Tune In with Chewie wrote our music.
Ooh, look at that segue. I didn't even mean to.
Oops. This is why we're a great team.
Yeah.
Jordan, Samus and Chill came out recently.
Okay, I was about to say, you're going to play a Metroid song on a Castlevania episode, but then I realized that actually makes a lot of sense.
Well, it does. But as I was like exploring my options for Castlevania music, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do EDM.
There's just not very much good music from Castlevania. The series isn't known for its soundtracks.
It's not that, Jordan.
Metroid and Chill just came out, and it works because Metroid Dread came out last week. When you're listening to this, probably. Is
Metroid Dread good? People like that?
I haven't played it, but I've seen lots of hyperbolic headlines like the greatest Metroid game ever made and stuff like that.
Goodness. So I might have to play it. I'm not like champing at the bit to play it yet, but
me neither. Just because I don't love paying full retail price for anything. But I have a birthday coming up, so I think I'm just gonna put it on my birthday list.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually, probably, but don't know when. Anyways, Samus and Chill, Tune In with Chewie, Lower Brinstar. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we will see you in 2 weeks for our second Okami episode.
That's not what we're calling it.
Bye.
Bye.